welcome to another Undressed podcast. Hello, I'm Jeremy Taylor, and welcome to Wednesday Night Undressed, the podcast that reaches into the wobbly places other podcasts dare and venture. Filmed in front of our panel, naked as always, for a thrilling trinity of rumbustical debate, where the answers are always clear, simple and straightforward, insofar as they can be determined and demonstrated to be without any epistemological problems. And let me introduce our panel tonight. Kathleen's with us.
Hello.
Jane is with us.
Hello.
Bobby is with us.
Hello.
Mandy and Dylan.
Hello.
Hello. Evo. I will hold that against you when we talk about sponsors later. Lewis is with us.
Yo, yo, yo.
And we have two new guests with us. We have Sofia Lefort,
Hello.
who is a professional violinist.
Professional's an exaggeration.
All right, you make a load of money doing it. And Andrei is here. Now, Andrei's an interesting guy because he does all sorts of different things. For instance, he's a footballer, a tap dancer, a musician, and...
Wait a minute. When you say footballer, what do you mean?
Well, I mean American football, American rules. So they've joined us just for a bit of a laugh. Gwyneth Paltrow will be here later, and so will some other famous people that you'll have to guess when you can hear their voices. So, yes, right. So questions we've got today. Lots of questions coming in. Very strange, somewhere. First question is an interesting one. What is a weird or bad, perhaps, or strange quirk that you have? So to give for example, with me, I tend to seek other people's opinions on lots of different things. So if I'm thinking of changing my car, I'm sorry? There's someone doing an impersonation of a chicken. We'll be getting to chickens later. But I tend to sort of discuss things that I don't think a lot. I talk out, yes, and well, don't mock. No, don't mock. It's not fair. No. So, what weird or bad or strange quirk do you have, Evo? Personal,
many.
Yeah, but when you're driving home from a gig and you're thinking, or a book signing?
Well, no. I'm superstitious, extremely superstitious. So, you all know this because we've watched sporting events together. And
you haven't taken off that hat.
Yeah, I get the hat and I flip it. Like, so if KU
but
is
it's
losing,
not the hat, is it?
It's losing. I have to flip the hat, and now they're winning. And so if they miss, I flip it back. And I'm convinced that somehow I'm sending some kind of bizarre energy their way and helping them win. And then I'm exhausted at the end of the game. My arms are tired, and I demand credit if we win.
And we leave.
Yeah.
If we're at a bar that we were not at the last time that KU won and they're losing, we will literally pack our shit and go back to the bar.
You know what's funny is superstition is extremely contagious. So I have witnesses for this because Jeremy was here. I think Lewis was here as well. We were watching the Royals, 2015. Royals are in the World Series. And this bar was packed, and we are watching the game, and the Royals are losing. And I go in the bathroom, and boom, Royals score. And I'm like, whoa. I come out, and Royals are losing. And I go back in the bathroom, boom, the Royals score. And then I try to come out of the bathroom, and everybody in this room goes, go back in the bathroom! And they gave me a chair. And I swear, I have witnessed, I stayed the entire game in the freaking bathroom, and we won. So,
and they thank you for that.
Yes, and they were very thankful. I really helped the Royals.
To not watch them, because every time I watch them, they lose.
Royals signed me after this. I have a contract now that to stay in the bathroom when they play.
So, Bobby, what is your bad, strange quirk that you have that you've had since childhood that you sort of rather wish you hadn't got?
I don't like my hands getting dirty.
Really?
When I eat, I don't like my hands getting oily or greasy. When I I just don't
As you
enjoy.
accept your French fries over the table and you're going to eat them with your hands.
And I fight it often, but no, I just I don't like my hands getting dirty.
So you don't like getting your fingers dirty, basically.
No, that just drives me nuts. And I will get up and I'll wash my hands frequently because I feel like there's something oily or nasty on them.
He's a bit like Trump, isn't he? Trump doesn't like it.
I have this too with lotion. Like I can't put it on the palms of my hands. I have to put lotion on the backs of my hands and then I rub it in.
Precisely.
Now
I just don't like the meats being covered.
I wonder how many other people have that particular feeling. You don't want something on your fingers.
I am
Not that
100%
many.
sure that like my friend Bobby is probably the only weirdo that has that problem. So
As he pours honey on his chips.
Well, Jeremy, I think your quirk is no matter what we are talking about, it always ends up being about Churchill. I have no idea why. We could be talking about Kanye, and it's going to be about Churchill after 5 minutes, if it's up to you. You know.
Well, I
know
try.
I know you do.
So Sting.
Somebody's
I
coming with
wasn't
a new
supposed to say that.
haircut.
Well, we'll call him Dylan instead, but Sting.
I suppose if you were to ask my fiance what my weird quirk is, it would probably be being correct too often.
Disagree.
If you were to ask me my opinion, I think I have to touch physically the doorknob on every exterior door before I can go to bed
So
at
it's
night.
OCD.
Yep. Just like, it's the only thing I'm OCD about, but I can't go to sleep unless I touch all the doorknobs that have external access to the house before I go to bed.
Did you ever watch a show on the TV called Monk?
Yeah.
I've not seen that.
He had all
Yes,
serious.
he's saying no, but she's saying yes.
I've seen it.
She has. I haven't seen
Well,
that.
you should watch that. It'll be an edification for you. Jane, I'm American. Don't
I have
get
a lot of OCD-isms, actually. I can't stand to see visible spots on things. Like,
You're at
You mean like
Conroy's.
Oh,
There's
I know.
spots everywhere.
I've actually had people point this out
Yeah.
to me. You're like in the dirtiest bar ever. And I go, not quite. No. Like, for example, if you have a nickel-plated faucet and water dries on it,
That's a
I
tap
cannot
for everybody
stop
else in the
until
rest of the world.
it's wiped clean. The fridge is also silver, and I have to constantly wipe it down. And when my grandkids come over, oh my God. Don't touch them. Okay. All right, you know what? I'll clean it when you're gone.
Can we invite you every week at our
I
house,
was gonna say
please,
that.
like for about 2 hours? Give you a rag.
I have no doubt that I annoy the crap out of my husband. He's just learned how to live around me.
You would be fantastic at curling. You would be a great. You would be an Olympic champion.
Oh, the American curling team. Yeah, I think that's excellent. Now, what about Sofia? You've got to keep your fingers very clean and everything for your violin.
Well, yeah, but I guess my quirk in relation to the violin is if I'm practicing and I like play a note wrong, I have to check the tuning on all of my strings because it can't possibly be my fault. One of my strings must be out of tune. So I check them all, I adjust it like minimally, and then I try it again as if it changed anything. And I do it every single time, and it's very, very annoying. It adds so much time to my practice, but it's just how it is.
But if you're playing a piece,
Yeah.
let's say to an audience or something like this,
Uh-huh.
and you know it's one note was just slightly off, do you feel you want to stop, or do you just keep going?
Yeah, because I have really good pitch because I've been playing for so long. Like I can tell when something's off, and so it's really, really, really hard to like not go back and correct it in the middle of a performance.
Kathleen.
No. Probably a lot of weird quirks. I suppose one of them is that I'm
Married
the
to a
grammar.
Brit.
damn it, you beat me to it.
Yeah. second Brit I've been married to. I'm still
See?
looking for number 3.
See, was I right?
Yeah. Anyway, so think about that, dear.
Yes. Sorry, dear.
I am the grammar police personified. The question here had one word misspelled, and I can't think of anything but that. But that. Oh my God.
What was that conversation we had a few podcasts ago about commas? Something
the
comma.
Oxford commas.
The Oxford
The
comma.
Oxford comma.
Yeah,
One of my favorite topics.
that was very
Oh, yeah.
interesting. We like that. And who else have we not had yet? What about Mandy? I can't imagine that you have any weird.
I have so many weird quirks.
Have you seen what she's wearing tonight?
Yeah,
Actually,
I know. It's sort of like a dead sheep. But,
Yes. So
you know,
speaking of that, I will give you
it's
the
100
quirk.
degrees outside.
It's breathable. It's breathable. But one of my weird quirks about clothing is I like to dress in themes. It's kind of something like I do at work to sort of entertain myself. So it might be like business cowboy or something like that, which I actually did dress that way once. And I had a bow tie and cowboy boots, and my boss literally asked me what I was wearing, and I said, I'm just experimenting with my professional style. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm a business cowboy! So things like that. Like we're going to some weddings and I'm going to wear like Scottish goth is one of my themes. Yeah, so I really like to theme it up. And even though this doesn't have a theme, it is, interesting and unusual. And so I like to use my clothing to express myself, I guess would be my...
If I was sitting at that wedding, and this is not a jest at all. If I was sitting at a wedding and I saw you from across the room, I would lean to my husband and go, that girl's going to be my friend before we leave. I'm not kidding.
Yes, I'm all about it.
I would love the opportunity to cosplay at work. I mean,
Yes,
that would just be
you
so
can.
awesome.
I mean, to an extent, but yeah, that's one of my quirks, I would say.
So it's interesting. It's interesting how different people have things. And finally, let's go to Lewis. What little thing do you have, Lewis?
All right, so have you guys ever seen like a picture of a bird's nest with like baby birds waiting to like be fed by their mom? So there may be like 10, 12 chicks in the bird's nest, and they're all looking up with their mouths open and maybe their mouths are closing. Like, that's disgusting to me. Have you guys heard?
Why?
Have you guys heard of trypophobia? Fear of clusters of circles?
Oh yeah, I studied that in
I had
Harvard
that.
undergrad.
I've had that like since I was a little kid.
So
I hate the Olympics.
it's the circle, not the birds.
No, it's the fact that you got all these little mouths and they're moving. Like it's not even that they're there. It's that they're moving.
I am
So
officially weirded out.
So like honeycombs.
honeycombs creep me out.
Yeah.
Pomegranates. Just pretty much anything that's like a cluster of circles. And
Cluster
if the
of
circles
grapes.
are moving, like I have difficulty watching a boiling pot. Like,
Whoa.
yeah, it's really, really weird.
Interesting. Has that been for your whole life?
For my whole life, and I have no explanation for it. It just unnerves me. And like
It's
No, it's a
interesting
legit
how we
phobia.
have lots. I mean, now you say that, I like looking at roses, as long
hold
as
on,
they're
we were
about,
talking about me.
No, we're talking about me now.
Skip.
I like looking at roses as long as they're 20 feet away. But if I get too close, the thorns make my eyes hurt. Which
Seriously, he cut down my favorite rose bush because it made his eyes hurt.
Just the sight of it?
Yep.
What a heathen.
I was going to ask
Bobby.
if you ever played with Legos. I mean, Legos are covered with little circles.
Circles don't open and close. So
Ah.
yeah, it's literally like the circles have to be moving. So like looking at a manhole cover, not bothersome. But again, a boiling pot.
a manhole cover. You are naughty. You are. We like you, but you're naughty.
Or if,
I was
if
A
you-
wasp's
you were
nest
bombed.
with larvae in it.
Yeah, that would be that'd be way too much.
I felt
Yeah.
God. If you were bombed, to get you to
James
talk, all
Bond.
they'd have to do would be show you a pot of boiling water.
More or less, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
They could like tear off my fingernails. It wouldn't cause me any problems. But
Those baby birds.
damn baby birds.
Have you ever thought how prunes look like dead birds?
No.
I'm gonna get real close to the mic so that I can
Prunes.
say very clearly.
Ever since
No, I've never thought about how prunes
Ever
look
since
like
I
dead
was a
baby
child,
birds.
I've not liked. I like the taste of them, but I don't like looking at them because I always think they're like a dead, rotten bird.
Oh, God.
She
So
loves them.
prunes-
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to see it.
I think we have gone past the healthy part of the sharing
Okay.
of this show.
So
If you think about it, prunes, they have no wings, no beaks, no heads, no legs.
They're round.
Other than that, they're exactly like dead birds. You know, they look exactly Good
all
God.
right. So next question for the team. It's amazing sitting here with these naked people. Do you think, no chuckling now, Mandy, do you think the infrastructure bill has a chance of passing? It snowballs in hell and things like that. So when this question was asked, it hadn't passed anywhere. In the meantime, of course, it is halfway through. The Senate has passed it. Now we have to deal with the guys in the in the House. And thank you, dear.
Yes.
It's so much easier when you're dealing with Parliament. It's one place. Nobody knows that.
So I'm kind
What
of.
do you think, Lewis?
I actually don't have an opinion. I'm actually super curious to hear Kath's opinion on this.
Oh, right. I haven't been keeping close enough track of it because I have actually been busy at work and therefore not able to read politics all day long, which is really discouraging.
Right.
I may have to quit.
That bill is 2,700 pages long, so nobody has probably read it. But from what I understand, the Democrats are not going to pass the bill in the House.
Yeah, I was wondering just how much did they have to cut out to get it to where it is?
They're just the liberal wing of the House is not happy with this bill, and they're very disappointed with the way it's structured. I think there's only $250 billion really that we're spending. Everything else is reappropriation of funds that were designated and not used from the COVID relief bill. So you're building bridges and roads in an era when everything is extremely expensive. Infrastructure is very expensive, and you're designating $250 billion. It's a joke. They can't do anything. They can't. And railroads, all that stuff, no way. And so the liberal wing of the House is very disappointed. They want $3 trillion bill, and so they want to focus on the reconciliation bill. And they say until we have an agreement on this $3 billion bill, we're not going to sign the infrastructure bill. So the problem is not the Republicans, it's the Democrats. So that's kind of what I heard.
Yeah,
When you
well,
think
it's
how
always
much a
been like
bridge
that.
costs to build, it doesn't seem to.
No, it's extremely expensive.
Somebody else heard a bell.
So then, whose political victory is it if the bill fails?
Trump's, because he doesn't want anything on Biden's agenda. So if this passes, at least Biden will have a feather on his head. He'll say, "Hey, I accomplished something," and the Donald doesn't want anything to be accomplished by the current administration. So, we're all losers, and Trump is a winner in this case because nothing's going.
Because that would just be bad. It would just be bad.
Yeah, very,
But
very
magnificent. Magnificently bad.
He would replace it with something terrific, I'm sure.
So
Bobby.
Yeah, for
Bobby.
which he would come up with plans 2 weeks from
It's
now.
Bobby's turn.
I know.
Bobby's turn.
So I followed it for a little bit, and then I stopped following it when it started. Did a lot of what the political bickering. So I don't really know or have an opinion. I think Evo's summary was on target for at least a little bit I've read on it. It's not the bill that I'm most interested in that's going through Congress right now. So
what bill is it?
the Voting Rights Act.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that one's the more
Sure,
important
he
one to
said
me.
something about swinging.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe I just missed that. He
You
definitely
always
said
hear them
swinging.
talk about swinging. I'm a little worried about this.
Okay.
I don't know.
Mandy.
Let's hope that.
Mandy.
So I'm invested in this bill a little bit, specifically about the broadband internet, which I don't think always gets acknowledged, right? When we think of infrastructure, we think of physical things, and broadband certainly is a physical thing. But that's something that my office focuses a lot on, as well as the populations I work with in Native and Indigenous communities, lack of broadband. So I would, if it doesn't go through, if it doesn't come together as a huge bill, I would love to see something with broadband going through, and I do think that there's a good chance with that sometime.
So I kind of scanned the bill, and it's like 1,000,000 pages, so I couldn't find it. Do you know if part of the bill is to reclassify broadband as a public utility?
No.
Okay, because that's what
It's
I
just
was
funding.
looking for.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it. So.
Yeah, no, that would be nice though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I want to go to some of the youngsters. Andrei, Do you even know what the infrastructure bill is? Do you care? Or would you rather just eat a chip?
I don't really care that much, and I didn't know what the word infrastructure meant before, so I had to look it up right before we started talking.
But do you recognize that in your world things are falling apart? You know, bridges and airports. For example, I know you travel. You've flown all over the place.
Oh yeah.
And you go up to the airport at Kansas City MCI, and it almost feels like there's bits of concrete going to fall on your head. That's national rather than local. Are you concerned about that for the next 40 or 50 years of your life?
I didn't know that was a thing that was happening.
Yeah. He hasn't been to LaGuardia.
Literally,
I probably
on your head.
That is
Good.
That is frightening.
I was there 2 years ago, and LaGuardia is looking really nice.
They fixed it up.
Oh yeah, even they're even fixing the congestion in the front. That was really nice.
Yeah.
Well, the congestion goes down when you threaten to drop concrete on people's heads.
There was in the original plan, which was $2.3 trillion by Biden, he had $1 billion designated for increasing the wages of people that take care of people with disabilities and old people, aging populations. And he called that infrastructure correctly, which I agree with that. And this was the number one peeve for the Republicans. And they said, no way are we going to help the aging population and the disabled population. And said no. And they had to get rid of $400 billion, which was the second
It's the
largest.
second phase now, and they're
Yeah.
going to try to start debating all that as well, negotiations. It's not going to happen.
At least for the first time in my lifetime, it was brought up, because nobody had ever brought that up before.
I know education is very dear to your heart, Jane. Do you think there's anything in this bill for you?
No, not really. I mean, I would like to think so. You know, the old debate on, well, the colleges are so. I can't believe what was it? The cost of even just a 4-year college has gone up 5% in the last. I don't know. They said 3 years or something.
3 years, like 2 months.
Yeah, well, that's what it feels like. I mean, and I heard somebody the other day bitching about how, well, they're nickel and diming and everything. And I mean, everything from parking places to, making the kids live in the dorms at exorbitant prices, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, yeah, that's because they have no funding. They're stretching as far as they can just to survive. And it's insane. But I would say no. No, I'm not really expecting any kind of big change whatsoever. I hear things. I hear rumors. But that's all it's going to stay.
Why do you think it is that when we look at the cost of education in, say, Europe, we don't have Ivy League colleges in Europe, say Cambridge or LSE, Oxford, places like that cost, I don't know what they cost today, but when we were putting students through, it was sort of like 10 grand a year in pounds. And here, if you want to go to MIT, it's 40 or 50. What is it? It's the same with medical. What is it, Dylan, do you think, that the Americans just think differently? It's sort of, I'm right behind you, sir. It's not, you will. The Americans don't like being told things, told to do something.
Well, I really think the difference between, let's say, like maybe a European college and an American college is probably the quality. You get what you pay for, and that's why ours is going to be so much more.
You are joking, right?
He's a
Because we treat in America our colleges and our universities and then our youth as a production factory. We want them to go into the greater machine and not as, can we get some enlightened people to maybe do some better things for our society? That's not the status quo of American colleges and universities.
Also, colleges are kind of money printing. operation. You know, it's an industry. It's a giant industry. In Europe, it's a little different. Most colleges are free in Europe, and they don't have flashy buildings. They don't have incredible athletic facilities. They're usually old like castles, you know, and they're falling apart. You know, if you go to Oxford or Cambridge, they really don't have the top of the line amazing buildings, but what they do have is incredible academic heritage, incredible professors, and
Incredibly
just
high standards and intelligent students.
and knowledge, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what an academic institution should be. KU, our university here in our town, spent so much time, money, so much resources on incredible buildings, but those buildings, they need brains in them. You know, that's the most important thing. You know, and it's not happening. You know.
Yeah, and not only just buildings, but recently, not too recently, maybe 2 years ago, they had the blue for their logo redone, which was maybe $200,000-$300,000. And I mean, it really just became a shade darker.
Yes.
And that to me, I mean, but they had to rebrand everything, and so they spent like things like
And
that.
somebody got paid $300,000.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So there's things like that I think are really problematic and drive up the bill.
I think it's incredible the people we bring to Lawrence who come to visit Little Lawrence, and they look at the football stadium, American rules football, that is. And it's bigger than most first division football club, professional football clubs in the UK. And if you go down to somewhere like Texas and look at their things, it's bigger than freaking Wembley, you know. And I worked out recently, I was arguing with my son-in-law about sizes of stadiums. You know, Spanish stadiums, they've got two big stadiums in Spain for Barcelona and Madrid. And then it's all America. And yet the famous ones are in Europe. Sofia, as you're going around playing your violin, being, you know, standing there doing your thing, you know, being all lovely and getting it right, do you worry about what happens in 30 years' time, or are you in the day?
Yeah, I worry about everything all the time. So, yeah, I there are a lot of times when I was little, like the building that Andrei and I used to like learn our instruments in, it was falling apart. It was pretty rough. There was a ginormous crack on one of the walls. The railing on the second floor was really flimsy, and Andrei would always lean on it when he was little, like play around, and I thought he was going to fall through and die. I was so scared all the time of everything. So, yeah, I guess, yes, I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I do have a badge actually at home, if you want, that says I'm a big sister.
Yeah, it was originally owned by Churchill. But yeah, it's amazing.
Enough,
You
Count
mentioned
Dracula.
you mentioned this KU football stadium. I was quick story. I was interviewing for a multimedia job at KU. I want to say maybe 6-7 years ago, and they asked me one of the most standard questions: do you repeat the same mistake twice? Do you tend to repeat the same mistake twice? Which is a bullshit question, you know. And I decided to be cute and answered. I said yes. I said I do. I paid twice to go to a KU football game. and I got a laugh, but I did not get a
Worth it.
But yeah, and I was looking at Andrei and thinking he's a kicker for the Lawrence, high school in Lawrence for their football team, and he's very, very good. And he has a dream to never ever play for the KU football team, like most little kids' dreams, to not play for KU football team.
All right, well, so we've gone off the infrastructure bill very quickly, and I want a yes, no, right? I'm just going to go round the table. Okay?
Round and round.
Do we think
Rat.
it will actually get past Congress? Eventually. Will Kathleen, yes or no?
Yes.
No.
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 Yes, sure.
No,
Lewis?
Confident.
Yeah.
I wish I was.
Bobby?
In its current form, no.
Fernando?
Yes. I say
Evo?
no.
All right.
We'll tally
We're
afterwards.
pretty evenly divided,
Yeah.
I think.
Well, so talking about evenly divided then, sometimes we actually have important questions that need some serious thinking about. And I know that President Biden would be with us on this. Chicken fingers or chicken tenders? I know it depends on how they're cooked, whether they're baked, deep fried, and so on, and whether they are in fact yesterday's. So, what do you think, Bobby?
Whatever it says on the menu. I like them, whatever they want to call them. That's what I'm
Small
ordering.
bits of chicken with crispy stuff outside.
Exactly. If you want to
That's
spend
the
that word count, go for it.
Chicken feet? No, I
Kathleen,
don't think so.
What do you prefer?
no.
Fingers or tenders?
Yes.
Oh, come on, guys! You've got to actually.
I don't know the difference. If I want a little bit of chicken with some crispy stuff on the outside, I order either chicken tenders or chicken fingers, whichever they've got on the menu.
Jane, what about you? On the way home?
Tenders.
Tenders. Okay, we have tenders.
Lewis has
Lewis,
something
you're
to
waving
say.
at me. Did you want to take a break or something? Or
Yeah, I gotta go pee. No, I wanted to answer this question because I swear that I consider myself a chicken expert, and I had no idea
I did not know
prior to
anybody
today
bragged about
Today.
that there was a difference between
Yes.
chicken tenders and chicken fingers. So, you may.
Oh, Jane is
Okay,
interceding.
chicken
here.
tenders are made from parts of the chicken breast. It's chicken breast, right? Breaded.
We're not
the-
allowed
the
to use
chicken-
that word. It's
Boobs, chicken boobs.
better.
The chicken, the chicken fingers are more like nuggets, bits of chicken put together. Yeah. So if you're weird about textures, etc., then that's my main gripe. It's all about texture. There is definitely a different taste, but because you can taste some of the dark meat in the fingers. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
So coming across this knowledge was revelatory for me. This makes a huge
It's a
difference.
big loyalty
No, don't
word there,
tell me,
wasn't it?
Lewis, that you're going to prefer the white meat with no dark meat.
No, I actually prefer the process, add the salt and the unnecessary fat to my
Oh, sure.
chicken
yeah.
tender.
Okay. Okay.
uh,
It does make them
Love my
tenderer.
coworkers.
So, yeah.
Sting.
Well, I think it follows that if chicken, let's say, tenders are made out of the tenderloin, that chicken fingers obviously are made out of the fingers of chickens. And with that bomb-proof logic, I would say that I would prefer the tender over the fingers. Final
I think
answer.
that somebody finally has made some sense. I'm impressed.
Oh, you guys should have seen Fernando's initial reaction to that. He just looks and he's like, "What? For real? What is this guy for real?"
Y'all just
Rarely
wanna talk
is he for real. Rarely.
Mandy, are you a tender or a finger?
So I also had the epiphany today of the difference and was like, oh my gosh. I think of it kind of like hot dogs, right? Hot dog, also culmination of parts and bits. But I do like a hot dog, especially Chicago dog, which we had not too long ago. And I was like, if that's what I got to do, that's what I got to do. So I'm going to just pretend like I don't know the difference between the two and carry on with life.
The only bad bit is when you get the actual chicken fingernail. That is not good.
Stop it.
No.
That's not like a treat.
I do prefer they trim the nails before they have my chicken fingers.
Yeah.
Lewis, did you actually ever give us an answer? Or did you just prevaricate for a long time?
No, I said I prefer the chicken finger because it's got the added salt and added unnecessary fat.
Okay.
Right. So looking down the end of the table, Sofia is bouncing around. And clearly has an opinion.
Yes. I've always thought of chicken tenders as a more gourmet treat, as opposed to the juvenile chicken finger.
Well, you are correct.
Yeah,
You
are correct.
You see, the chicken
There's
fingers.
always one, isn't there? I mean, isn't there?
Chicken fingers is what you order when you're a kid and you don't want to eat any real food. Chicken tenders is what you eat when you're mature and you don't want to eat any other food.
And you're to find
Take it up a notch.
Uh-huh.
You know you made it when.
So yeah, chicken tenders.
The best part of that is Andre's look on his face like, I don't know who you are.
I don't recognize this decadent person.
Andre,
Creme de la creme.
I just wonder whether you care, but do you, even if you don't care which, do you care where they come from?
I'm 100% a finger guy.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it's because I like a surprise. I don't know what I'm getting.
That's a good point.
It's kind of like marriage.
And we're going to go and ask Evo, because Evo is a devout vegetarian for all sorts of reasons. I know why. And it's not about, well, I like plants, you know. So what would you think? I mean, if you had to, which would you go for? Would you go for a broccoli tender or a broccoli finger? Or a cauliflower tender, maybe? Or a cauliflower tender. Remember, your wife is in the audience, so I can always ask her.
Yeah, broccoli typically has very bony fingers.
It does.
Typically.
But in the
Typically.
stalk, there is a very tender part.
The chest of the broccoli.
Same with
The chest
cauliflower.
of the broccoli
boobs
is
of the
actually
broccoli.
delicious.
Yes, broccoli boobs.
You know what I'm going to say
Mandy said.
is if I was to eat those things, I probably eat the one that's crunchy because I like crunchy.
That's another chicken finger.
Fingers, 100%.
So we
A
have
nice toenail.
it's actually pretty much even in fingers and tenders, with 3 or 4 don't cares.
I think that means Fernando's going to be the tiebreaker.
Yes. So
Tiebreaker.
Fernando,
Tiebreaker.
Hold
so
on.
what do you think?
What do you choose?
Andre,
finger.
Fingers,
100%.
So tenders.
One of the things about doing the difference between, I have to say, between doing a podcast and live radio is that on live radio people call in. You know, they're driving down the road and they get incensed, like Sofia was now. You know, you've got to say something, and they'll call in, and you can have you know the listeners. But the only issue with the podcast, they're great fun, but you don't know what the listeners are thinking. Which I find, I don't know what you think, Evo, because we've done broadcasting together, whether or not you miss that input coming
First of
in.
all, you're making us like an immediate mistake by saying listeners when we all know that you should say listener.
No,
Because
Chef said we had 6.
We have 6 listeners.
Yes.
Okay. You know, I am going to just completely escape the topic and say a quick story about Andrei. Because Andrei...
Is he a finger or a tender?
Okay.
No, Andrei...
Finger.
It's not a finger.
Andrei is partially named after the great Russian director Andrei Tarkovsky, who is an absolutely amazing director and movie maker. He's the inventor of the reality effect, and Tarkovsky made some incredible movies like Solaris and so on. But there's also another amazing Russian director called Andrei Konchalovsky, and he made a movie in the States. He made a very bad movie called Tango and Cash. But he also made an incredible movie with John Voight and Eric Roberts called Runaway Train. And that was a masterpiece. That was an allegory about life. It was a beautiful, beautiful movie. But in it, it was the first movie for the one and only Danny Trejo. The incredibly ugly Mexican dude actor who's a former prisoner and so on, and a boxer. And
You may call him Machete.
Machete, yeah. And he was supposed to be a consultant for a boxing match in Andrei Konchalovsky's movie Runaway Train. There was a boxing scene, and he was supposed to teach Eric Roberts how to box. And he was teaching him, and Konchalovsky noticed his distinctive face, and said, "Come here, man, come here." And he gave him a big Russian hug and a kiss. And he told him, "You are not going to be teaching him to box. You will be in the movie Boxing. You are now an actor." And he gave him he opened the door for him in acting and in this world. And the first thing that Trejo did after this speech, he went to the producer of the movie and said, "Hey, man, if this crazy guy is going to be kissing me, you got to pay me more."
Negotiating.
And this guy Tchaikovsky, was he a chicken finger? Or Would he have been
Andrei
down-
Konchalovsky?
Yeah, would he have been down
probably,
in the tenders?
He
Or
probably just
He'd be a tender.
just ate the chicken's heads. Well,
Chicken beaks.
So he's a strip guy. He's a chicken strip guy.
Have you ever read his interview, Danny Trejo's interview about how he was in the same prison at the same time with Charles Manson? Have you ever read this? It was really interesting to hear what he had to say. I'll forward it to you
He's
sometime.
quite a character.
Next question coming up. This is violence innate or a learned behavior? For example, do kids learn hitting, biting from seeing it, maybe adults or other kids? What do you think?
Yes. I really think that they do. I think it is absolutely the nature versus nurture argument, right? Nurture, etc. But I don't know. This is a really good question. I do believe in, mental illnesses such as psychopathy. But
They'd never bit anyone.
God, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Freud says we're born evil, and we have to be taught to be.
So does Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dylan, don't pick your nose on this
Charlie.
podcast. Other people can see.
It's easier to breathe.
Yeah, true.
I think it actually goes both ways. I think you can learn violence from watching violence. If you're in enough violence, I think it's innate in you to think that, well, this is my normal. I don't know what is different. But I also think that we are, as animals, have a certain amount of violence already inbred in us for survival. It's just protection. So I think it can roll both ways.
I don't see a child being brought up to never ever hit without being told not to, because if they accidentally hit somebody a little too hard, and then they get their way, they're going to learn just from that it works. I mean, it's unless they are brought up by people who every time they do something too strong, too violent, are told not to, then they're going to eventually hit something.
You hit on when I first saw the question, you hit on the point that I think struck me the most, is that we're prescribing an attitude on children. And I think, as Dylan pointed out, babies have survival mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
And the mechanism will be whatever it is it takes for them to survive.
Yeah.
So,
and they'll learn from their own actions rather than from other people.
So when I saw that it was is violence innate to children, I took some exception to that, because violence is an adult term that we're applying to the child. For the child, this is just a survival mechanism. If it is screaming to get the attention, if screaming stops working, they go to the next thing, which might be walking up to their parent and poking or pulling on them or whatever. They're going to use whatever tools it is they have at their disposal to survive. So if it's biting or hitting, and if that's reinforced, then that becomes the behavior in which they use to survive. I don't consider that violence, because at that level, that's not violent. That's their survival mechanism. I think you're correct. When we start labeling things and you start creating the idea in the child's mind of what things are. And we dealt with this with our kid, learning like how he bit and hit caregivers because they treated him poorly. And his response to that was, I'm going to show you my survival mechanism, which is you need to leave me alone. The only way I can make that happen is by doing these things to you. And so we went through the process of untraining that the proper way of communicating is just anything else but hitting or biting.
So then peers?
He never went for peers. Women with glasses. That was the person that treated him the most horribly at his one daycare. And
So then what about the kids who do that, like literally with peers? So what's that? Is that still the survival mechanism?
perhaps the same thing, yeah. But why would we?
Like natural selection, you're weaker than I am, and I'm going to make you...
Why not?
Okay.
No, I mean Freud's model, the classic model, is the it, which is the survival instinct, libido. We're born with those instincts, and they drive us. And if not for the superego, which is the moral codex, the moral values, we will not have a normal, socially acceptable ego. So in the clash between the it and the superego is born the ego, and that's the scaffolding that holds us together in a normally functioning society. That's what Freud says.
I can't believe I'm agreeing with you and Freud at the same time. It's just, there's a pain in my heart right now. It hurts deep.
But you've probably seen this documentary, which worries me, about a bunch of children that were living in the corn, and they were truly, nobody taught them. What about these two twins? Another documentary wearing blue dresses, and they were in this old hotel.
Living in a hotel by themselves. I mean.
They were left so they had to survive. That's why they were counting and spilling like swimming pools of blood and all kinds of crap.
Did you see, for real now? Okay, no offense.
No, seriously though, one of the reasons that kids are so often portrayed as evil in horror movies is because of that, because it's so counterintuitive to look at an innocent child and think it's capable of horrific things. And that's what makes it it's like the uncanny valley. When you see something that doesn't belong, it frightens you on a very, very, very deep level.
So the documentary that they actually made two separate ones, but it was put together in the end, Boys and Girls. Did you watch it?
I've read.
It was really interesting.
Yeah.
Put a whole bunch of adolescent kids together, take away adult supervision, and it literally turned into Lord of the Flies in a house.
Yeah,
it was pretty crazy.
There was a very famous psychological experiment in the 70s where they had 3-year-old boys and 3-year-old girls. They were, without being taught anything, they had to construct, they had to use like a toy blocks. And the girls always build beautiful interior spaces and build stuff, where the boys, all they did was they would build it as tall as they can, and then they would knock it down and watch it all fall apart. So, I don't know, there's something innate in us. Guys tend to be attracted to destruction.
Sofia, do you tend to slap your little brother around and put him in?
No,
his
I
place?
have some good stories. So Andrei, though, since he did taekwondo and all these sports and stuff, his solutions to things when we were little were very physical. So he was the one that would slap me around, even though I was the older one and I was like bigger. But he knew taekwondo. He had like weapons.
Yeah, but you
in
have
his
a
room.
violin.
Like he would.
You can smack him on the head. You can't spell violence without violence.
Well, well, what was the time
You
when
can actually, yeah.
there was
There's
some
an eye.
time he because he was always a very snarky little kid, and he'd like hit me sometime.
Watch
We're,
out,
like
he's about to
fighting.
hit you.
And I said, "Ow! Why did you hit me?" And he said, "No, I didn't. I spear fisted you."
Classic mistake.
So if I would tell my mom that Andrei hit me, he said, "No, I did not hit her. I spear fisted her." And that made it a little better.
It sounds...
Well, we'll come to
Pedantic.
Lewis in
It's
a
the same
second.
thing.
For me, it's interesting because I've seen this sibling rivalry, with my brother, and I tried to drown him once. I thought it would be a good idea to teach him to swim in the rainwater bath. And he was complaining and whinging and bitching and everything else. Oh God. Anyway,
Yeah, he still
But,
has a brother, in case you're wondering.
but interestingly, you know, we would take it out on my sister. We had a, you know, like a child's high chair, and there was a little bar that would go across to stop the child falling out. So we managed to convince my sister, who would have been about 5 at the time, to sit, because we were playing. You know, we'd sit in the chair, and then my brother would sit in the chair. And she's going to listen to this. She's in Australia. She's going to listen to this. So she saw us doing it because, of course, she wanted to do it, right? So she gets in the chair, and I had the stick this time, and I stuffed the stick across it. She only could just fit in the chair, and she couldn't get out, right? And I can tell you that was well over 40 years ago, and she has not forgiven it because my brother and I left the dining room where it was and shut the door. And she was there for 3/4 of an hour until my mother heard us shouting. But where I'm going, and I'm interested to come back to Lewis, are we really talking about bullying here?
That is, I think, probably the ultimate thrust of the question, but I'm not entirely... Well, but I guess I should preface it by saying I pretty much agree with everything that everybody said. I would actually expand on what you said, Bobby. You put it in terms of survival multiple times. I don't think it goes even that deep. I'm more along the lines of what Kath said, in that it is just basic desire fulfillment. Like, you want a bottle, and you notice that if you knock something off the ground and, you know, mom scrambles to pick it up and make it right, that is a reinforcer, like, to that behavior.
For me, that is the after process. I'm talking when they're much younger than that. Yeah, right.
So no. I think this happens newborn.
Right, exactly. Like right out the gate.
Uh-huh.
But they only have certain tools, and those tools are those very physical tools.
Yeah,
And then-
I agree.
Well, look, it's both innate and learned,
Yeah.
right?
I think that so ultimately I think that my position is I think that the learned is probably more dangerous, or more accurately, like, it's our job as parents to teach them not to use violence as a problem-solving mechanism. And so when you come across a child that is their default, their go-to, their status quo, that is a sign that child has had some serious problems that they've dealt with, and that's a bigger issue. But I don't think that because a child hits, that the child is deficient or defective.
But is violence necessarily physical? So, I mean, a lot of people voted for the recent president, and generally speaking, he didn't get physical. It was all verbal, and people felt that they had been abused. And so, last member of the team, Naked Team Tonight's Mandy. What do you think?
So I do think that there may be a natural tendency for aggression, which is sort of the unphysically fulfilled act of violence, right? So every once in a while, I stub my toe and I want to, right? Like, things happen that cause you to want to be aggressive or to violent. But I think what we are missing is what else is natural within humans, and there is a natural desire to be self-fulfilled. There's a natural desire for curiosity. There's all these other things that counteract aggression growing into violence, and that's where I think the nurture comes in, and it kind of pushes you into one direction or the other. If left unchecked, aggression grows into violence. But if not left unchecked, and people are teaching you kind of how to deal with your anger or aggression, then it becomes obsolete, right? So I think that there's more to the story than just violence itself, but what else are humans naturally inclined toward?
So we were talking about whether violence is innate or learned behavior. And for example, do kids learn hitting, biting from seeing? I take the view that with bullying, it's very simple. The easy way to deal with a bully, there is only one way to deal with a bully, and that is to teach the bully that bullying doesn't work. Yeah, I mean, you can shoot them as well. But
he's a Brit. He doesn't understand.
It's an American issue.
But I think that bullies get away with it because, as Mandy said, it's a taught thing. And if they're taught, there are plenty of parents who teach their kids to bully.
Oh yeah. Didn't Churchill have something to say about the bullying in Europe? I can't remember.
I'm sure
I
Churchill.
said, my good boy.
I would like to rise to that, but he was a very unhappy boy at boarding school.
Like Karate Kid. That's the best movie of all
He didn't
time.
have a Miyagi.
Well, Miyagi wasn't the good guy though.
I agree.
Yeah.
Who's the good guy?
Oh.
Do you think?
Johnny and Prince.
Johnny,
Yeah,
right?
Johnny.
Wait, is this based on Karate Kid?
No,
Or is this
no.
based on Cobra Kai?
All of it.
This is
The
Karate
universe,
Kid.
the Karate Kid universe.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Dang.
The whole thing.
My entire thoughts on this
This is
topic are
interesting.
based off Karate Kid.
If you watch
Really?
Karate Kid,
Which I haven't watched for many years.
okay, and
Oh,
watch,
parts 2 and 3 too.
Yeah, watch Daniel is an
Yes, he is terrible.
Guys,
Daniel
are you watching
is
Really?
the bane of my existence.
Cobra Kai?
And then he's an adult.
Yeah.
All he talks about is bone size and
Yes.
selling cars, and he's obnoxious and dumb.
And,
And
he has
Johnny-
fake hair.
And he's fake hair. And Johnny is a hero. He's an
sweep
American
the
hero.
foot, Johnny. Sweep the leg.
Johnny was just misunderstood.
Misunderstood.
Well, are you
And
guys
he
watching?
wasn't nurtured to resist, right? So?
Are you watching Cobra Kai?
Yes.
Anyone?
No.
Oh,
Absolutely.
it's outstanding.
I'm a huge.
It's where Johnny. It's
fan.
taking place now, and Johnny is
Yeah.
the good guy, and Daniel
Johnny's
is
always
a
been the good
car ownership.
Johnny's always been the good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that might be true.
Daniel owns car,
it is
car
true.
dealerships, and he's a total asshole. He's
Yes.
a total asshole.
So that happened for me recently. We watched The Rainmaker, Tom Cruise, and I was
Rain
like,
Man, yeah.
Rain Man, yes.
Oh, I was like,
and I was like, which is a different movie, totally. Yes,
Yeah.
Rain Man. And I was like, Dylan, you got to see this. It's like this sweet story. And we rewatched it. I was like, this is terrible.
He's
He's,
abusing.
so
an asshole,
terrible. I
yeah.
started
Abusing
texting my
this guy.
friends. I was like, guys.
He exploiting.
Oh my God, he was the
kidnapping
worst.
a guy with a disability.
Yes, and so many issues. But in my mind, it was like, this is the American Treasure Dale. But it was not at all. And Dylan was like, why are we watching this? I was like, it was a classic.
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
I want
shame
to-
on you, Tom
that's
Cruise.
gonna like screw up your world. Like by the time you're 40, Ferris Bueller is like the worst person on the planet.
He is the worst. I have
They used to
watched
watch
that.
movie all the time when we would have like an off day in school. He sucks so bad.
He's so selfish.
He's so mean.
I want to go back to Cobra Kai for a minute.
Yes,
If we can.
absolutely.
No, but
You know I got passionate.
there are a number of things that I will tell you about Cobra off air, if you want to call it that. But I'm going to lend you a book to read. It's called
Oh.
Generation Kill, and it's
I
all
don't read.
about the American Special Forces going into Baghdad. And
Like
a
John
guy
Kreese.
I know who was involved in that, and he can tell you all about Cobra Kai for real. The real one actually existed, believe it or not, in Kansas City. And you might find it interesting to read.
Yeah.
And
Very
I will lend you the book.
Cool.
So let's move on to our last question of the last question, which I want everybody to actually answer this truthfully. Truthfully, including you, Bob. Crap.
That ain't fair.
Which Wizard of Oz character is loosely based on you? I will start and say for me it's a shaggy old lion. It's all bluster and nothing inside. Evo.
Well, first of all, I can't stop thinking about what you guys just said, that basically everything made in the 80s was upside down. Everything was freaking upside down.
The 80s were
Fucking-
upside down.
Yeah, I mean, who knew? I mean, it's,
Wizard of Oz was 1940s.
yeah, but what the hell? Probably that facehugger was probably misunderstood from the alien movies. I mean, it's probably an existentialist like painter or something.
Misunderstood,
right?
Misunderstood.
He was
So
a burn
let's
victim.
Maybe
Child
Duran
of a
Duran
single
were
mother.
geniuses. I don't know.
Let's try very.
Don't go that far.
Let us try very carefully, very hard to get Evo to actually tell us
About which character from
which
the Wizard of Oz?
would you
There's
say is
only
based
one
on
option. I'm the fucking tornado.
Damn it! I want
I wreak havoc and entropy wherever I go. I'm destructive.
There's only one character.
I
that
take
suits me
people
too.
and transport them to any place they don't want to go. You
Okay,
know?
Kathleen.
So you're the dog.
Toto never spoke.
Well,
You're Toto.
so we'll put WW for Kathleen and also for Jane.
We
because I
can
know
do
that's what she would have said. Bobby. I know which one I think for Bobby.
So, Lewis sent that quiz that you go through and figure out which character you were, and it kept coming up all the wrong characters. It never once gave me the house. I was very disappointed in that. But I would actually have to say the wizard because he had his hands in all the pies, and he's I think he caused a lot of the trouble. I have to say the wizard at the end. Yeah.
Mandy,
You're a schemer.
Mandy, what would you say?
Schemer.
So I mentioned earlier, I have a quirk of dressing in themes,
Yes.
and recently I've actually purchased red ruby slippers and a blue plaid dress, and will be wearing a theme of Dorothy. But I also think I'm Dorothy because I literally
Will you
live
be coming to another
But
podcast?
Dylan wants
just
to
like
be
Oz.
Dorothy.
Oh, you can be Dorothy too.
How many times have I told you to stay out of my closet?
Listen, our closet.
Not married yet.
Not even married yet. It's our wow.
Oh my God, that's great.
You might be a redneck, Ian. So, Sting.
I would have to say that I'm probably the Scarecrow. I'm heartless and soulless. I'm light on my feet. I'm a native
Are you
Kansan.
a lawyer?
A lawyer too, as well.
Oh,
Native Kansan. So I think that probably fits my persona the best. That's it, guys. That's all
Scarecrow. That's a good one.
Lewis.
I was going to go Scarecrow.
I have. Yeah, as a natural. Yeah, you're a natural.
Why?
fit.
Because I get...
Because does not work. You have to say why.
Because
Oh, because, right.
I walk through life assuming that I don't know too much. And so, like, I think I would be dangerous if I had a brain. So, I recognize that about, like, I respond to that thing that the Scarecrow did. So, the Scarecrow was probably a hell of a lot smarter than he gave himself credit for during the whole movie. And so, like, I sort of have that as this meta thought in back that I can't be as much of an idiot as I think I am, but the Scarecrow character resonates.
Andrei.
I was gonna say the wizard until
Well, you can still be
that.
the wizard if you
No,
want to.
no.
You can
My
be the
reason
wizard's
being,
apprentice.
I'm an all-powerful being. So my second option would be one of the flying monkeys.
I was
Yeah.
hoping somebody would choose
Flying
flying
monkey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The bananas. All
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Because they're also just badass.
Minkies.
Yeah, they are.
Nobody wants to be the Tin Man.
Sophia.
Or
I
Toto.
have two questions for
he's
Sophia.
His ass
One
squeaks when he
is,
walks.
what do you think Andrei is?
I don't remember much of the Wizard of Oz.
Blasphemy.
Well,
God.
because isn't the wizard like a fraud?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then Andrei's the wizard.
Oh my.
And Sophia,
It's gonna be great.
she would have grabbed her dog if she could. What would you grab if you're being whirled away in a tornado? Would it be your instrument?
Violin, the Stradivarius.
Right.
I don't have a strap.
Excuse me, just one moment.
Yes.
Dad, why doesn't she have a Strad?
You can get it on
Strad.
eBay. Just
Yeah.
eBay it.
Because they
The
wanted a house
contacts
to
are
live
like
in
millions
instead.
of dollars
Yeah.
violins. They're really, really good.
In,
My dad doesn't know anything about the violin.
in Jeremy Taylor's household, the Stradivarius is a Strat. Because, he's,
So
he's an
Because
aristocrat.
it's
Is the
darts
violin, is that
backwards.
small one?
Stradivarius.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
It's
Sophia,
$2
your
million, $2 million, $3 million
last one and the last question.
Okay.
What would you be? What do you think?
I'm gonna have to say Toto, just cause I don't really I just kind of go along with whatever happens, and I never know
You
what
don't
is
worry.
going on. And I'm like the cute little fun side character that pops up every now and then,
Like
and
Mike-
then
like Mike
disappears, and everyone forgets about it. Yeah.
Andrew Cuomo.
I think it's really interesting because
So I'm
sitting
curious,
here,
is that
knowing
what you
most
got
of you,
us as your answer
it's
for the
interesting how
quiz?
people have. I put like Bobby. He's going to say wizard, and he did. It's Andrei the same. But I love the flying monkey. Anything else? Flying monkey.
Fernando choose?
Fernando.
No, actually, Andrei stole from me because who was on the table and I say, oh, I
Yeah,
don't
it
have
was
an answer. I hate that movie. I would be the flying monkey.
So flying monkey.
I don't recall this conversation.
We've come to the end of another. We've come to the other end,
Flying
end
monkey
of
leader.
another naked podcast, and we have managed each week for all the way through the Ko-fi fee to get ourselves sponsored. The girl in the office, Susan. I'm not supposed to call her a girl, am I? That's very non-PC. A lady in the office
Yeah.
has managed to do things. Evo, has she worked her magic?
Susan is our director of marketing, and she usually is responsible for contacting and contracting with marketers, and she delivers again. She sent me a content, and it's amazingly today it's a recording. Yeah, so it's actual cassette tape, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. So today, I don't know. Today we're sponsored by some very angry, anonymous guy from the year 1917. How did she contact the guy from 1917?
Is it Winston Churchill?
It must have time traveled somehow. It's not Winston. I don't think it might be Winston. But I am worried now because we have teenagers, and there's two things that worry me about this copy. First, it's a guy that's angry. He's anonymous, so that's two. It's not gonna be PG-13. And 19. Oh, what?
I'm 14.
Yeah, it's okay, but it's up to Fernando.
Yeah, go for
It's
it.
okay.
We're uncensored.
Okay.
They're uncensored.
People in 1917 apparently like to use the F word a lot, so I don't know. Free? So let's see what that guy has to say. He's sponsoring us, so we have to play the recording. Just a second. Let me rewind the tape. Click. Good evening, you greasy, soggy 21st century ass rags. The hell? How did I end up here in this godforsaken year 2021? I have no idea, but I'm pissed! You spoiled, spineless wimps. You have ruined civilization forever. Men were real men in 1917, and so were the women. Since I came here, I've heard nothing but whining and complaining. I swear, if I hear one more person bitching about having to wear a mask at the supermarket, I'm gonna blow my head off with a musket. Supermarket? We didn't have supermarkets. We had one fucking store with a leaky roof that was selling lumps of lard, a bag of rice, and chunks of black mold. Oh yeah, I was at your Wall fucking Greens yesterday. I saw 74 different toothbrushes. 74 at Walgreens. There was a toothbrush shaped like Donald fucking Duck. He was talking to me. What the duck? I tell you what, if my toothbrush was talking to me, I'd punch it in the mouth. By the way, I only have one tooth. And I brush it with the bottom of my shoe after each meal, which means once a week. You exfoliate, you cockhuggers. You manscape? Really? I shave twice a year with a rusted lid of a can of beans that I've inherited from my grandfather. You what? You're grooming your pubes? Are you insane? There are indigenous tribes living in my pubic hair, you little bitches! That's right. Welcome to the jungle. It's a thick, dark forest down there. In fact, I call my boss Hansel and Gretel. I haven't seen those kids in years. Walgreens. Drugstore, my ass. That's not a drugstore, that's a twink factory. Oh my God. What happened to you people? When did it go so wrong? Let me ask you something. What is your sleep number? What is your sleep number, assholes? Tempur-Pedic? With air chambers for you and your sleeping partner? An adjustable barometric pressure? Fuck you! I sleep standing up in a trench with a gas mask on, and you know who my sleeping partner is? A corpse! Half of his face is missing. That's what sweet dreams are made out of. Fuck you, Annie Lennox.
Annie Lennox.
Oh, your sleeping number is 37? So is mine, because I have 37 rats climbing up my legs as I try to sleep. You have memory foam. I have no memory of sleeping. And Jeremy Taylor, he's been complaining too. But no. He's having a serious crisis. What is going on, Mr. Taylor? Oh no, it's scary. What's going on? Could you, Jeremy Taylor? Oh no. Your Keurig doesn't froth appropriately. I do declare, my latte isn't copacetic. Creamy, it is not. Where is it? You British driggle drago. Keurig? You know what I have to do? I boil my old underwear and pretend it's coffee. I call it espresso. And your buddy Fernando here, he has a serious problem too. His flat screen TV is not QLED. And it's only 65 inches.
True.
He wants it to be at least 70 inches. I hate you! My house is 70 inches. I don't have a TV, I have a wall, and I watch shadow puppets once a year on my birthday. You know what our family entertainment was when I was a kid? My dad whooping my ass with a whip. That was our family's favorite show. Oh, what are you saying, Louis? You're thinking of upgrading your personal motor vehicle. Oh, I see. The one you have now doesn't have adjustable lumbar support and no heated steering wheel. Oh, no. No heated steering wheel? Oh, the humanity. You know what I had in 1970, you fop doodle? I have a wagon and a donkey. When I get too cold, I pull the donkey's tail and it farts in my face. And then I say, it's getting hot in here. Yeah, that's what's up, Nelly. And Dylan. Oh, Dylan. He's heartbroken too. He's got the PS4 gaming system, but not the PS5.
Been upset about that.
Ooh, what a shame. You know what I do for entertainment, Dylan? I count cockroaches in the kitchen, which is also our toilet. Oh God, what happened to the world? What happened to this world? You've got paleo diets, $800 Dyson vacuums with cyclonic suction technology. You've got Kardashians, pomegranate macaroons, anal bleach, massage parlors for cocker spaniels. You got selfie sticks, dick fucking dog, $3,000 bicycle, remote control dildos, Instagram filters, and 5-ply bamboo toilet paper and chicken tenders. You guys are insane. The only good thing,
Fingers.
the only good thing, Joe Biden is president. What a fine lad. My grandma was his babysitter. Hey, I will sponsor you though. Why? Because your horrible podcast, whatever that is, takes place at Conroy's. And Conroy's is the only thing here that looks familiar. May his Irish heart be blessed. Cockroaches, check. Rats, check. Black mold, check. Dick stains on the ceiling tiles, check. Underwear, coffee, check. It's like I've never left 1917. But how? How in the name of Woodrow Wilson did I end up here in this sissified future? I hate you 2021 and all of you cockmunchers. Oh God, more than anything, I want to drag your bleached millennial sphincters to 1970. Until then, I got your selfie stick right here. Good night and good luck. Holy shit, that was a really bad.
That was incredible.
Sponsor anonymous.
Was that OnlyFans? Is that what sponsor was?
And all that remains is for me, Jeremy Taylor, to say thanks to our team tonight: Kathleen, Jane, Bobby, Mandy, Dylan, Ivo, Lewis, Sofia, and Andrei, and with some input from Fernando.
Right.
Thumbs
Yeah.
up, yeah.
Always good.
Lewis has also been standing in for our engineers and doing the talking. Don't forget, all the 2020s and 2021 podcasts can be found for download on the Ko-fi channel. And you've been listening to another Completely Naked and Nude Wednesday Night Undressed.
Yeah.